Welcome to the 10-Year Podcast with me, Michael Kwaku, aka ML-Q. This podcast is all about being in conversation with everyday people that have dedicated over 10,000 hours to their craft over a decade. These people have transitioned successfully from just surviving the 9-to-5 to thriving in their careers. I want you to learn from them, so ultimately you can create your own blueprint and build a life that you love and a legacy to inspire the next generation. This episode is how to maximize your productivity for your side hustles. Now, we live in what I call the post-woke world. DEI is DIED. And so for many people, you can actually be seeing that you might need a side hustle because if things go left, you need to have a parachute which is going to turn your passions into profit. Quick story. I used to work at a company where I call it micro and macro aggression central. I'll give an example. I was in the kitchen. My boss comes to me and asks me why white people can't say the N-word, but drops the N-word 13 times. So you can imagine I didn't want to be there for too long. So I actually left money on the table. I went part-time, did 3 days at the office, 2 days investing in my side hustle. But what I found was actually the same kind of focus, same kind of strategic thinking, the same kind of motivation wasn't always there for my side hustles as it was for my job. So when it comes to side hustles, when it comes to self-motivation, I think this is the perfect person to speak to. Now, I have a very close friend. Some people call him my best friend, and they will be right. He used to work at McDonald's and thought, you know what, run this, we'll talk about that more, and ended up actually training to be a dancer. And he didn't just become any dancer. He became a 3-time world team battle champion with his crew Prototype. He was also a semi-finalist on the Got to Dance TV show on Sky One. Now, that takes focus, dedication, motivation, yes, but he went from dancing to being an entrepreneur, creating his own fitness company called Aquafit Pro that has turned over £500,000. So when it comes to side hustles, when it comes to self-motivation, I think this is the perfect person to speak to. So welcome to Tenured, the man, the superhuman, SuperMalcom.com. Malcom, how's it going?
It's going wow. Thank you. Thank you for the introduction.
Anytime.
That was a fantastic introduction.
Thank you, bro. I should be around you all the time.
Definitely. You should myself, man. I get a percentage every time you make that kind of introduction.
I keep telling people that my whole life ambition was to be a hype man. The moment that Spliff Star retires, Buster better call me.
Okay. I'll be Buster. You be your...
I'll be Spliff Star.
Yeah, we can do that.
I can do that. I can't rap though.
No, but that's good. That's good. Just do my introduction. That's what you need to do.
And then walk off.
And then walk off. I do the rest.
I could do that, but I want 50%.
That's 50?
50%. I'm expensive.
You're harder than the HMRC.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
Okay.
I'm manifesting my value. Now, thank you for coming because you're someone that, when I hear your life journey, I think really embodies the word hustle and concept of progress. Mm-hmm. So people don't know you the way I know you. So can you just give people an overview of where you're from, where you grew up, but most importantly, when you came to the UK, where you started working, and what was the moment you were like, you know what, I can't work for anybody. Like, I can't have a boss.
All right, so quick backstory. I was born in Congo, RDC, which used to be called Zaire. And I left when I was 5 years old with my mom. Then I lived in France when I did all my studies. And then from France, I decided to move and come to the UK. Now, the struggle actually started when I moved to the UK because I didn't know how to speak English.
Wow.
I didn't have many friends. So that's when I had my back against the wall and it was about, okay, how do I maneuver in this new environment? And one of the first jobs that I had coming here was actually working in McDonald. First job. This is job that's open for everybody. You don't need to know how to speak English. You don't even need to know how to walk. Everybody gonna say, yes, you get the job. No problem. Come in. You can start tomorrow. That's no problem. So I went there, work. I would say probably that job lasted me 2 days or 3 max.
2 or 3 days max?
It lasted me 2 or 3 days max.
So hold on. You came to the UK Didn't speak English.
Didn't speak English.
But you had standards.
I still had standards.
Just checking.
I was still at minimum standard. That was the minimum, strictly minimum. And basically the reason why I lasted 2-3 days is because one day they said to me, okay, Malcom, you need to go and clean the toilet. And I said to myself, my friend, I didn't come, not from France, but from Congo to the UK to clean toilets. This is not my life. So at that point, I said, you know what, my friend, I'm leaving. And when you work at McDonald, you don't even need to sign the resignation letter. You can just bounce. So I just left. That same minute, I just disappeared.
So wait, let me just get this
That
straight.
was a magic trick.
So they were like, Malcom, can you please clean the toilets? And you just left.
I just left now and there. So literally 5 minutes after I was gone.
Can I ask a question?
To that, the costume, I can't even remember.
Yeah, the uniform.
The uniform.
Yeah.
And I just left. I said, that's not my life. I'm not going to clean anybody's toilet.
Wow.
No, that's not going to happen.
Did you get paid for those 2 or 3 days?
I didn't get paid. I said, that's fine. Keep your money. Keep your money. I need to keep my sanity. You keep your money. I need to keep my dignity, but you keep your money.
There was a quote from Carl Jung who says, if you don't know who you are, the world will tell you.
Oh, definitely.
And so you knew who you were.
Oh, yeah, you need to have standards. There's certain things that obviously it's going to be hard at the beginning.
Yeah.
But there's certain things that you need to be ready to accept, and certain things that you said, okay, if I go down this road, this pathway, there's no turning back. So I think it has to do with your personality as well. If you have a certain level of dignity, there's certain things that you're not going to do. And that applies with work and in life in general. So that's one of the lines that I wasn't ready to cross. I said, you know what? I don't mind working. I'm a hard worker. That's not the problem. What I do mind is doing certain things that doesn't align with my values.
Wow.
And cleaning toilets after people doo-doos and pee. I said, that's not the life. I'm in Europe. I had limited option, but I said, you know what? I don't want to do that. So I decided just to leave.
That's inspiring.
Straight.
That's inspiring.
Straight.
So from McDonald's, where did you go?
So from McDonald's, then I went to do some odd jobs. So I went to work in the sports stores when I was working 6 days a week, 12 hours a day, non-stop. And for me, that was normal. I was getting paid £5. Back then, it was like £5 an hour. And that was a lot.
Minimum wage.
Yeah, that was.
I remember those days.
Minimum, like the minimum was $4.95. I was getting £5. So that was just.
You were like, and you were like,
I was
balling.
every Sunday. That was my day off. Every Saturday night, that's when go and spend that extra money.
5p that you accumulated every hour. Jesus.
So straight. So I went there, I did this, I work at Trocadero. Trocadero used to be a place where they have all the games in central London. At some point, I had 2 jobs. I was working in a club and I was in Topshop as well. So I was doing that. So morning, it was Topshop. Evening, it was the club. And I did that for a while. That wasn't sustainable, so I stopped. And then my last job, fast forward, my last job is when I was working in a store with a guy that actually changed my life. What happened is working for him and he was doing some kind of like dodgy stuff. Anyway, he decided to fire me for something that I wasn't in the wrong. And at that time, I thought it was a curse, but it was a blessing in disguise. Because from that time, I looked back at myself and I said, you know what? Every time I worked for somebody, in all the jobs that I had, I realized people didn't really appreciate my talent.
Yeah.
They didn't appreciate the work that I was putting in.
Yeah.
Right? And you always end up having people that don't do anything in a job, getting paid more than you, or getting more recognized than you, and all of this stuff. And I said, you know what? I was tired to give so much energy, give my time, really being committed to what I'm doing and not being appreciated for it. So my last job that happened actually when the guy decided to fire me. And from there on, I said, you know what? I'm never going to work for anybody anymore. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm not going to be working for anybody anymore. And from that point forward, I say, I'm going to go full on hustle mode. I'm going to give myself 100%. And at the time, the only thing I knew how to do well was dancing. And I didn't know how I'm going to live off dancing, but I said, you know what? I'm just going to figure it out. So I literally went from being jobless to going to the job center. Back then it was Yellow Pages for different locations. Went there, opened the Yellow Page, looked for all the youth centers and say, you know what? I'm going to call every single youth center. At the job center, you have access to a free phone. So you can call for job purposes. And I literally called every single youth center in North London, East London, West London, and South London. Every single one that I could see youth centers written on it. And one of them said, yes, come for a trial. Went for the trial. They liked it. And cut the long story short, he went from one job to the next one, to the next one, to the next one, to the next one. So that's when my hustling journey actually started. That's the short of it, I would say.
Do you know why I think that's incredible? Because number one, you did say when you first came here, you didn't speak English. So you had to really immerse yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, brother, my French is okay. And I'm still annoyed that it's okay because the amount of years I spent studying French. You came to a country with no English and you were like, I got to actually learn the language, and you did learn the language so much so that you could teach in the language. Yeah. I have to respect that. Second is actually you understood your values and who you were. And in a way, like you understood the loins, you understood the legacy of which you came and therefore what is below you and what is right for you, but also what is for you in the future. Yeah. I think it's really powerful. Yeah. And then you did the work, which was to call every single youth center in Yellow Pages, which must have taken a long time.
Weeks.
And also dealing with a lot of rejection.
Oh, yeah.
Because the youth center don't want you. They're kids. They don't want you.
Oh, they don't.
While the adults want you.
Nobody wanted me. I couldn't even speak English properly back then.
Are you serious?
I couldn't speak English. So it was literally, I think what you had to do, if I remember, I had to call them. And all I used to say is, do you want a dance class? Do you want a dance class? Do you want a dance class? Which is not really difficult to say. But that's what it was. So my English back then was actually worse than the French.
You speak,
Yeah, I had to work my way up. I'm still learning how to speak English, by the way.
No, bro, your English is sexy, bro.
So, I'm trying to get there.
Yeah, you have that français accent. L'accent français, quoi. That's how you got to deal with. Do you know what's funny? Because when you were talking, I was just trying to think of what was the last straw of why I decided to go part-time with the goal of trying to create my own business. And it was I remember when 12 Years a Slave came out and it had won an Oscar and everyone was like, wow, this is incredible. Very few black directors have won an Oscar. And my boss at the time said to me, 12 Years a Slave, you should try 12 Years a Mortgage.
Oh, wow.
Now, we worked in, let's say, our team was majority black and African. And I was like, like for you to say that with your full chest, it's only a matter of time when you realize that our values aren't aligned and it's going to cause problems. So I need to start working on either my skill set that's going to give me freedom and liberation or a business that's going to give me options and hopefully open up networks for me. Yeah. So I really do resonate with what was the last straw that you were like, even when you're fired for doing something that wasn't your fault, like, where is the justice in this world? And you can't be that vulnerable. Yeah.
I think that's one of the most, in the workplace, not even today, that's one the thing that happens. You never really fully get appreciated for the work that you put in.
Yeah, facts.
And you always have people that are above you that don't put half of the work that you do, but still getting paid more than you or getting more recognized than you for whatever reason. Because they know somebody, because the parents know somebody, because whatever the case is. And that used to really piss me off. And I say, if I carry on in that same pattern, in that same road, I'm going to get the same kind of result.
Facts.
So I had too many bad experiences with different people to say, you know what, for me, it's not for me.
Yeah.
There's only so much I can take. It's not for me. So that's one of the reasons why I said to myself, let me just go on my own. Let me try at least and see what happens.
Yeah.
So that's what launched my career, I would say.
A question from our sponsors. Did you know that the Dogon people in Mali accurately described the rings of Saturn, the moons of Jupiter, the spiral structure of the Milky Way galaxy and the surface of the moon in the 1800s without a telescope? Or that Malians traveled to the Americas 200 years before Christopher Columbus? Now, you might think this is far-fetched, but think again. These achievements of black civilization have been hidden, and this is why often many of us feel or see black people as inferior. But what if I could reclaim this lost knowledge? My mentor, my teacher, African Union historian Robin Walker has spent over 30 years uncovering the hidden histories of black achievement from 200,000 years ago till now. He's offering an affordable online course, the Black Secret Education Project, covering fields like architecture, science, technology, maths, commerce, and so much more, even religion. And imagine the confidence of knowing you belong in any room, in any industry, because that is why knowledge is power. And for tenured listeners, you get a whopping 50% discount on the Black Secret Education Project. Check the link in the show notes. And remember, knowledge is power and power is progress. You achieved, huge amounts of success. You were on TV. You were a world champion with your crew prototype and also as an individual. Yeah. And then you started to think about entrepreneurship. What was the moment where you thought, actually, you've mastered your body, which I have to pay respect because I can't do a cartwheel. Not anymore. There's a moment in life when you realize the bridge and the cartwheel are no longer achievable as a full-grown adult. Do you mean? So you mastering your body, let me just say enough respect. If you want to check out his audition on the YouTube, Got to Dance, is still there. My question was, after you've achieved these levels of success in dance, what was the thing that made you think about entrepreneurship?
So I would say the dance itself is an entrepreneurial journey.
Facts.
So I think that was the beginning of
Facts.
That. The reason why I say that is because if you want to live off dancing, there's certain character that you need to have. Mm-hmm. You need to be disciplined, right? Mm-hmm. This is a lifestyle. It's not just, okay, I'm just going to dance and that's it. So you need to create an environment where you're going to be able to have jobs, right? So you need to be disciplined. You need to train yourself. You need to know your subject better than anybody for you to be recognized. You need to know how to network. So there's a lot of skill set that you're going to acquire as a dancer that you can apply in the business world. Now, the transition actually happened when I actually got injured. So I was, doing some tours. I think I was in Spain at that time and I got injured and I think I couldn't walk for a month. And as a self-employed, if you do not work, you don't get paid. So when you work, you get paid well. But you don't get sick pay, you don't get holiday pay, you don't get none of that.
Yeah.
So for me, what happened is for 1 month, I couldn't work at all because I had a cast. And I said to myself, listen, this is actually quite dangerous because every time something's going to happen to my body, if I only rely on my body and something happens to me, I'm not going to be able to eat. So I need to find an option. I need to find a different avenue.
Yeah.
And the thing that came into my head was actually doing something that's going to allow me to earn money without necessarily being present. That's when the idea of starting a business actually kicked in. So that's basically what happened. I was able to take the skill set that I learned as a dancer and put it into my, let's say, new entrepreneurial journey, which was creating a business. So a lot of it was useful because a lot of it is transferable and a lot of it I also have to learn because I didn't know anything about business. It was a complete new world for me. So that's when the transition happened, when I said to myself, you know what? I can't carry on like this. Or if anything happened, you also have to look at your future. Like, there's at a certain point, you're not going to be able to touch your toes anymore. That point is now. I can't touch my toes to save my life. I have to breathe in hard, extra breathing to touch my toes.
My gosh.
So when that happened, you say, okay, cool, I made the right decision. But that's basically was the tipping point.
It's interesting because when I hear you speak, I hear someone that actually has done something that very few people have done, which is actually master either a subject or master themselves. Your walking value that can unlock money and opportunity for yourself. Yeah. And I think that's what a lot of us aspire to be able to do. And so I would love to know, when it comes to, as you said, mastery of, let's say, your dance, how did you structure your week or your days?
So I said the first thing was that I would say, gifted. Gifted in the sense of I always knew how to dance.
Okay.
Or I love dancing. I was always dancing for fun. But I never thought that I can turn into a job. I can never turn my passion into profit. So what happened is I actually met some guy when I was working in a store, the last store before I got fired. I met a guy that essentially introduced me into the teaching world. So I used to be really good at dancing, but I used to be terrible at teaching. And there's a difference between being a good dancer and being a good teacher.
Yeah.
So what I had to do is learn how to teach.
Yes.
So I say, okay, who do I know that already teach? I know a guy. I said, can you be my mentor? He said, no problem. So I went literally following him, seeing what he was doing. And at the time he was teaching like 5-10 years old. Like I said, this is not I signed up for, but let me start from the beginning. Let me start from the bottom. And what I actually realized is teaching young people. From the time you can teach at 10 years old, you can teach anybody.
Yeah.
You can literally teach anybody because you literally acquire the skill set of being extremely patient, of breaking things down. And that you can apply it to adults. It becomes really easy. So at the time it was quite boring. But my first step to essentially answer your question is to get a mentor, somebody that's doing what you're already doing, learn from him. And then after that, it's going to make things much easier. So my first thing was, okay, let me secure my finances. Let me learn how to teach. From the time I learned how to teach, the second thing was this, let me put myself out there and get jobs. How do you do that? You build a website. If you know how to do a website, you hire somebody to do a website. Either way, you build a website, you put yourself there, you put all your credits or whatever you've done, and then you just go out there, network, and trying to find jobs, X, Y, and Z. And then, yeah, that's how jobs start coming at you. And then you reach a point where you feel like, that person, you reach a point where I felt like I was giving more than I was receiving. So it was mainly teaching all the time, and I wasn't receiving much. So I had to break down my day when I say, okay, let me teach, which is going to be my main income, but also let me feed my knowledge when it's going to be me learning how to increase my level, my skills, so that, I can just become better. And then the better you become, the more you can charge people. So it works together,
Yeah.
Learning, teaching, learning. And then, that's how basically I balance it. Like it was, 50-50, I would say.
No, that's deep, because a lot of people were told we're only as valuable in what we give.
Yeah.
And actually what I'm hearing you saying essentially is like, you should only give what overflows from your cup once it's full.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Bars.
Grown men bars.
So from dancing, we start with entrepreneurship. And I see this as you mastering yourself, you being disciplined, that half a day of investing in knowledge.
Yep.
I think Malcolm X said, education is the path to the future, and the future belongs to those that prepare today.
Yep.
So with that in mind, it's like, like you saw the future. You started to say, okay, let me spend half my day actually investing in myself. And actually you were consistent with that. And then it gave you time to think, actually, there's probably more money outside if I start another business based on what I know and who I am.
Yeah.
Talk to me about Aquafit Pro, and particularly like how you managed to create a business that has a turnover of over $500,000.
When you start a business, it's a completely different ballgame, especially when you haven't got any money. When you are broke and you look into your pocket and there's nothing that comes out of it, not even coins, it's hard. So the way I had to do it is you literally have to learn everything yourself. How to do marketing, how to do sales, how to do admin, how to do accountancies and all of this stuff. And essentially you start with, okay, what do I need? I need to build a website. Okay, can you afford paying somebody to build a website? No, I can't. Let me do some research on how to build a website. So you start building a website. Okay, I need to make some sale. What do I know about marketing? I don't know anything. Okay, let me watch some videos on YouTube and see what I can learn about selling stuff or classes on YouTube. And you literally have to learn every single thing by yourself before you can start hiring people. So you need to understand the whole system. You need to understand the whole ecosystem of the business, which is not easy at the beginning, but that's something that you need to go through. So it's a whole learning process. Now, what really helped me, again, I go back into dancing, I go back into what I was doing before, is the same principle that you need to apply. It's that discipline. Say, listen, I want to get from A to B. What do I need to do to get from A to B? I need to learn this, I need to learn this, I need to learn that. And essentially is either you do that, survive or die. That's all it is. So you have to find yourself in a situation of being disciplined enough to learn the knowledge that you need to learn to be able to get to that place. And it all comes down to your mindset. I don't think everybody is built for that, but if you want to take that road, you really need to have a strong mindset, and you really need to be willing to learn. You need to be ready to bleed, because it's going to be very difficult at the beginning, and you need to be able to wear different hats as well. And like I said, when you ain't got no money, it's different from when you start a business and you have investors and they give you 1 million, and then from there, you can just employ people that are going to do everything. But when you don't, you start from zero and you have to get the groundwork and work your way up and literally learn every single aspect of it.
Let's talk about specifics, because a lot of people have heard a lot of what you said on Dame Dash YouTube channels and shows, Gary Vaynerchuk, hustle, mindset. But actually, I find that they don't talk about specifics. And I know a lot of people are sitting there who are at their desk in banking, in consultancy. And the problem with them is that they're getting a paycheck. And that paycheck is a great pacifier, boy.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You said that you have to bleed. but there has to be blood. Do you know what I mean? And often the paycheck stops the blood. Do you know what I'm saying? So I would love to know, you talked about wearing many hats. How do you structure your day in terms of time management to make sure, or even, it might not even be your day, it might be your week. How do you structure your week to make sure that actually you are allowing yourself, holistic self, body, mind, soul, spirit, heart, even your social circle, to all be fed, but all go in a direction of you making progress? How do you structure that?
Okay, so now, I mean, back then, it was different than today. I think today is much more structured.
Sure.
So how I structure my day now is very simple. The first thing you need to do is set up goals. What are your goals? Spiritually, what are your goals? Physically, what are your goals in terms of business? Right. So let's take those three things. So let's say spiritually, what are your goals? Okay. One of the things that I do, because I want to learn more when it comes to spirituality and also be well into when it comes to mindset. So one of the things that I do is meditate. So I don't know much about meditation, but I'm getting into it. So read books about spirituality, and also sometimes trying to learn. So the way I usually start my day, first thing I want to do is go to the gym. Work out a little bit, even if it's 15, 30 minute max, just to wake my body up and just to be physically alert. Boom, that's done. And then from there, I can start working on my goals. So usually the way I plan my day is I usually plan the day before. The day before, I know exactly what I'm going to do the day after, what I'm going to be wearing. So what time I'm going to wake up, what time I'm going to go to the gym, what time I'm going to start working, how long it's going to take me to go from A to B. So plan everything during that day. And when it comes to business, what goal I want to achieve? So the goal is being set for the week, but I'm breaking down for the days. Okay, for example, at the moment, I need somebody to deal with my social media. What do I need to do? I need to hire somebody. Okay, so my goal for the week is to have somebody that's going to deal with my admin and social media. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go on Upwork. I need to hire some people and to do X, Y, and Z. So that's the goal of the week. The day is going to be, okay, tomorrow I'm going to go on Indeed, post a job, right? That's the task that I'm going to be setting up. But all of these things are done the day before. So when I wake up in the morning, I don't have to use a lot of brain capacity and a lot of, what is it I need to look for clothes to wear, or what I'm going to be wearing. No, I know exactly what's going to happen the next day. I can just get on with my day just like this. And another thing as well is I'm trying to avoid distraction as much as possible, which is a big thing. All right. When you're working for yourself, one of the things that you need to know is self-discipline. There's nobody behind you. Nobody is going to carry you. You're on your own. So I need to have that self-discipline. So another thing that I do, I really try to avoid any sort of distraction. I deleted all my social media apps.
Wow.
I haven't got access to my email on my phone.
Wow.
I deleted my email from my phone. The only time I'm going to have access to my email is if I'm on the laptop working, right? And it's going to be during a certain time. So I try to delete all this distraction because I know it's going to slow me down when you're going to come to my work, right? So I think that's pretty much how I would structure my day and I would be more productive, because I believe that the easiest way to get distracted is if you have access to the distractions. I'm not superhuman, because we know when I speak, oh my gosh, how do you do it? It's not that. Because I haven't got Instagram, TikTok, and all the social media, that's why I haven't got access. That's why I don't spend time on it. If I had it on my phone, I know for a fact I will spend hours on it. So limiting your access or cutting access to something can actually help you with your productivity. So you need to look at those things. Where do you spend most of your time? That time spent, is it good time spent or is it bad time? Etc., etc. So yeah, basically just to answer the question. I know that was a long answer.
No, it's beautiful.
That's how I structure my day. know the day before what you're going to do, know exactly what's your plan for the week, break it down into subtasks. And then on every single day, you know exactly what you're going to be working on. And just plan ahead and avoid all the distractions.
Just to add to what you've said, I think there's a couple of things that may also help. One is you talk about self-discipline, but actually some people are just not disciplined. But what can make you disciplined is accountability. So there are some really good life coaches out there, or there's some accountability partners that you can work with and just saying, listen, these are the 3 things I want to do every day. These are the 7 things or 5 things I want to do during the week. Just keep me accountable. And if I do this, then I can do this. I can go out to McDonald's. Don't go McDonald's.
Pay me money.
Give Malcom money.
Give me money.
Give Malcom money. And I think that can help. And don't feel bad about having a coach, because I think, as you said in your first story about being a dancer, you had a coach.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Even today, I have coaches, depending on what I want to learn. I have coaches in everything that I do.
Yeah.
A coach can be a book in terms of learning from somebody, an expert. A coach can be a person. Whatever it is, you speak to somebody that know how to do that. So 100% have a coach. Have somebody that know how to do things better than you and learn from them. So 100%.
It's crazy because you mentioned, you did a little slip up. You said like self-destruction rather than, and actually I think that's the right word, because we all have a shadow side. And as much as we say we want to be this, we want to be an entrepreneur, we want to have this much money, we want to drive this car.
Yeah.
Do we really want that? Do you mean? Let's be real. Let's be real. Often we want to, in a way, smell the new car.
Yeah.
But we don't really want to drive it. And the reason why we don't want to drive it is because we haven't actually done the work on our shadow to understand, okay, what does money mean to me? What's my money blueprint?
Yeah.
Am I worthy? Am I really worthy of this success? And I think that work has to be done. And it links back to your discussion about mindset.
Yeah.
When it comes to mindset, what have been the things that have really made you feel like you deserve the life that you're working towards?
I think for me, the mindset that have really helped me is to be consistent in one thing, focus on one thing, and really put your energy into it and be persistent. You're going to get rejection. You're going to get no's all the time, but you just keep on pushing and keep on going for it. So that's, I think, a mindset that you need to have, because I was reading a book about this guy said, it's a very successful person. He said, listen, if I knew what I knew today, I don't think I would have started that business.
Wow.
But because we keep on pushing in the same direction, you keep on going forward, you're essentially going to find yourself with results. So I would say have that consistency and being persistent in what you do.
Facts. And I think even me, I've had so many business ideas. And actually, when I had the idea, even 5 years after I had the idea, I closed the business.
Yeah.
And I think actually the idea of, I've got to keep going because I'll look a fool, or I've already sunk too much time or money into it. Actually, no, the real value is the lessons you learn, is the journey.
No, yeah, 100%.
And no one can ever take that away from you. Do you want to explain to people what Aquafit Pro is?
So Aquafit Pro is basically a fitness business specialized in aqua cycling. So it's like cycling in the water. So it's basically spin class, but people do it within a pool. And that's basically what it is. We started with just aqua cycling, and now we're expanding to be more of an aqua-based workout, which is more fun and more open to a broader range of people.
Yeah.
Not just because when you think about aqua aerobic, you're thinking about plus 45, plus 50 years old woman. But now it's something that we're trying to open up the spectrum of people, the audience that are going to be interested in aqua aerobic. So we want to make it fun. But initially, the idea was an aqua cycling company.
And it's a full body workout. You do upper body as well as lower body.
That's right.
And you're also playing piano, Afrobeats, house, all that kind of stuff as well. So
all day. The music is number one.
The music is, so actually it's not,
You need to drop that skank. You need to have that rotational in your body. It's not just cycling. There's a lot of element when you work out that body. Yeah. We're trying to incorporate all of that into it.
So the reason why I want you to talk about it a bit is because you went through a triple whammy of just disrespectful life events that you could never have planned for. And I'm talking about the 3 disrespects. 1 was Brexit.
Oof.
2 was the increase in utility bills, where a lot of the sports centres, which has swimming pools, were closing the pools because it cost too much to heat the pool. And the last one, which you could never have predicted, was COVID.
Oof.
most people go through one. You had to go through all three and you're still here. And that's what I wanted to talk about. What kind of squats were you doing that allowed you to see through and overcome these three challenges and still be here today and people can learn from?
So first of all, you cannot predict those things. It's impossible.
Okay.
The Brexit was one thing. So what really was a problem for me with Brexit, it was the fact of the supplies that I have when it comes to the bikes, the price just shot up, just went.
How much falls? Like
this, it got so bad that even the supplier didn't want to send the bikes to me anymore. That's how bad it was.
It's too expensive.
There's
you
no
don't want this price.
Come and pick it up. Just
Jesus.
pull it in your suitcase. That's how bad Brexit was. So when that happened, one thing that you have to do when the cost of living goes higher, you essentially need to adapt. So you need to put your price higher as well.
Yeah.
Now, what I used to do, what I used to think actually, and it all comes down to mindset and it comes down to the people that you hang around with, is that I used to charge about £7.50 for a class. So that was the kind of the price that people would pay. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to survive now because everything goes up. I need to put my prices up. And I used to have a friend that used to say to me, listen, you're charging too little. You need to put your prices up. You need to put your prices up. Never used to listen to him for 2-3 years. He used to tell me the same thing. And then one day I said, you know what? Let me try and see if I can put my prices up. I went from £7.50 to £25 for a class. Now, were the people that were upset? Yes. Were the people that couldn't afford it? Yes. Were the people that could afford it? Yes. And that's the thing. And that's the mindset that I had, was that I was thinking, coming from my perception, I would say, that not a lot of people are going to be able to afford it and everybody's just going to drop out. But the thing is, what I was offering was so unique and then my classes was fully booked. Now, being fully booked is a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. Good thing because you make good money. Bad thing because it means like you're not charging high enough. So what you need to do is you need to adapt your prices so that, okay, I need to charge enough so that I'm probably going to make more money out of maybe 2 people paying £25 than 5 people or 4 people or whatever the number is that will be paid £5 or £7.50, right? So you have to do the math in your head. Is it easier to get 2 people paying £25 or get 5-6 people paying £7, right? And it made sense to me to just chase the 2 people rather than 7 people, and also realize that there are people that's going to be willing to pay that price. So I put my prices up. Some people complain. Some people didn't complain. Some people just were absolutely fine with it, carry on, and it was fine. And that's how I managed to ride the wave.
Do you know what makes Brexit so disrespectful? It was the sheer arrogance and hubris of this country to think that a small island can leave its biggest trading neighbors, plural, and do better. And so when you realize that people were saying this with PhDs, with 25 years in Houses of Parliament, with business certificates and BTECs, because if you were campaigning for Brexit, you have a BTEC. That's what you have, because you just cut up all your degrees and all your because you're a idiot. You know what I mean? So it's just, what I'm saying is, it didn't have to be this way.
Definitely no. I could have saved a lot of jobs.
A lot of jobs. So anyway, talk to me about COVID.
So COVID was a completely different situation. That caused all my gym closed. Everything was closed. Everything was shut down. What saved me was the fact of I also had a side hustle, which was my dance business, which I actually didn't completely stop. And I was actually building an online version of my dance business. So rather than me teaching physically, I was building an online, let's say, dance Netflix, where people would have access to dance tutorial. That actually saved me. Why? Because everybody was online. So what you have to realize is, in terms of crisis, there's people that lose money, but there's also people that make a lot of money. People that made a lot of money was Amazon. Made a lot of money. Facebook made a lot of money. So those people made a lot of money. Why? Because they were online. Right? So there was opportunities there to grab onto. It's just you need to be smart about it. So what actually saved me was me wearing different hats. So I created like an online school for people to learn how to dance. And that was booming at the time during the COVID period. So that allowed me to generate some income and to survive the wave. So when everything opened up, everything went back to normal. I lost a lot of gyms and I just had to work my way back up again. Yeah, it's really like it's a circle of up and down, really. But that's pretty much how I managed to survive COVID.
One of my spiritual teachers, she said, a lot of people see life as a hierarchy, as like a triangle, and you're always trying to get to the top. But she said, look at life as a circle. You are all about cycles.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think listen, Drake was at the top.
Now Kendrick is.
And now Kendrick's at the top. A deadbeat that should never say more life. That's the book of Kendrick.
Bars. Amen to
Chapter 1, verse 2. So it's true. It's all about cycles. It's actually how do you take the knowledge from the past to influence your present, to open doors of the future.
Yeah.
Powerful.
That's what it is.
That's crazy. I commend you, bro, because I would have cried. I would have cried if I was facing that situation. And I think that's the thing is that I realize I'm not an entrepreneur yet. Like I don't have the mindset, but I'm working on it to know that I am valuable enough. Like I'm worthy of it. And I think a lot of people, especially in Britain, because I feel that one of the benefits of having been born abroad is that actually the cultural myth, the cultural diet you're taught may not be as self-deprecating as it is in Britain. Right. I think actually Britain does a lot of disservice in keeping people just content. Average. And it's not even content. It's just almost content. It's like a smirk rather than a full smile. That's where Britain wants to keep the citizens. And I think that is dangerous because actually it doesn't help us aspire for more, but also doesn't also give us the confidence to know that we deserve more. Yeah. I remember when all the utility prices went up, mortgage payments went up, stupid people paying another £700 on top of their mortgage for no reason. And I thought, oh my gosh, Britain's it's going to go crazy. We're going to be France. We're going to have tires in the streets and placards. But people stayed at home and just worked harder. And I was like, wow, like we don't think we're worthy of a good life. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And so it's that mindset of knowing you're worthy. You have value, intrinsic value, you deserve more, I think is quite a thing. And I'm on that journey for sure. I want to just summarize a few things you said there that I think are important. Yeah. One was, I just tried. Your friend was giving you the answer, Sway. Yeah. You're being Kanye. You ain't got the answer, Sway. You ain't got the answers. And actually, just try. Just try. Just try. That's it. What's the worst that can happen? Second thing is have a plan B and ramp up quickly. And the third thing is marketing. Oh, yeah. And that leads me on to my next question, which is, I call you the Duke of Marketing. We have a mutual friend that's a king of marketing, I'll say. Thank you. The Duke of Marketing. That's a new title.
I'll put that on my Instagram.
And I would love to know, what are the basic either books or documentaries or people to follow to understand how powerful marketing is and the way to structure your marketing campaign to actually get people to see your product and see you as credible and see you as worth spending money on? So
do you want my book in marketing or in my general books I would recommend when it comes to business?
Let's start with marketing, then go to business. I will ask you about business later on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when it comes to marketing, I would say I got most of my knowledge from the best online free school. Mm-hmm. It's called YouTube.
The best university that charges no fees.
No fee. You don't need to pay any deposit.
Wow.
You just need to look at the right videos.
Yes.
And if you want to know where the best videos are, do not look for video that lasts less than 30 minutes. So the way I usually select my content, because there's a lot of free knowledge out there, a lot, by people that know what they're talking about, by experts. There's a lot of fake gurus, but there's a lot of free, good knowledge. And I always, every time I want to learn something new, I always look at videos that last more than 30 minutes.
Great.
45, 1 hour, 2 hours, even better. Because obviously, for you to be able to master new skills, you're not going to do it with videos of 5 minutes or 30 seconds. Or it's not going to happen like that. And I think people are falling, especially nowadays, falling into the shorts and reels and snap version of information, but that doesn't bring you any values. So for me, the way I like to research, I look at a subject and say, okay, how can I master Facebook ad? Depending on what part of my journey are. let's say I'm a beginner. I'm going to type Facebook ad for beginners. Now you're going to have thousands of videos coming up. You're going to have most of them about 5 minutes. I'm going to skip all of them and go to the one that lasts about an hour. And then I'm going to look at the video. You can pretty much get an idea after the first 5 minutes if that's something that's suitable for you or not. And then you just keep on watching, and then you take the next video with the same kind of subject, and then the next one and the next one. You take that knowledge, you apply. Take what works and get rid of what doesn't work. And that's how you basically become better at marketing. Because everything you're going to take on board is not still going to apply to you, but you just delete what's not necessarily, and then apply what you think is valuable. So that's the school, the university I would recommend.
I really feel YouTube should be giving out degrees. Like, I want paperwork. Do you mean, like, when you read like 1,000 videos or 1,000 hours in a particular subject, I want to see some paperwork and a gold star on it.
Yeah. They should do that. They should. And you also have free courses online. There's a platform called Coursera.
Yes, Coursera.
Yeah, Coursera, right?
Udemy as well.
Yeah, Udemy as well. They give out free. There's a lot of free courses, or even cheap one.
Yeah.
But you can get like free qualification when it comes to Google Analytics, Google, how to use YouTube, etc., etc. So there's a lot of places where you can get free information.
Sure.
You just need to look for it if you're serious about it.
Sure. No, thank you for that. I think that's really helpful because I think people want to start in place. So my last question, looking back, you've gone through experiences, a lot of minuses, a lot of pluses.
Yeah.
What would you have done differently in order to unlock your next 10 years? In other words, make your future brighter.
Yeah.
But also, I'd love you if you can just also in that same answer, drop some of the books in business that you've read that help formulate.
Do you want the bars, the big bars?
I want the big bars, the big books. You know what I mean?
Bars?
So
okay,
yeah,
cool.
Just try and encapsulate all that into one answer.
All right, cool.
I'm sure you can.
So let me start with the advice, or what I would do if I were to start back, or if I were to start a new business. I think one of the main things for me that really worked is to surround myself with the right people. Because your perception, there's perception and there's perspective. Your perception is personal, is how you see things. And most of the time, the way you see things are completely different from perspective. Perspective is taking yourself out of yourself and looking at it from an outside perspective. And when you understand how the world works around your business, it gets to unlock a lot of those things that you didn't know how to do. So example that I gave in terms of pricing, I didn't know I can charge more because I was surrounded by the way I grew up. From my perception, it was impossible for me to charge that much. Nobody would buy it. But when it comes to perspective from somebody else's perspective, it's nothing to pay that much money. So perception is one thing, your perception is one thing, but sometimes your perception is based on what happened to you in the past. And when you look at perspective, which is completely different, that would give you a completely different answer. So for example, when you start a business, you say, I know what people want. They want this. But then you put it in the market and you realize, oh no, they don't want that. They want something completely different. And that's the feedback that you get. So you really need to look at those things. And so my answer to that question would be really surround yourself with the right people. So I have a mentor, basically a mentor, coach, or somebody that's been there and that can teach you something that you don't know. Now, in terms of the book, what I say when it comes to book is I see books as charging your superpower. I don't know if you watch The Matrix, right? I know you're a fan of The Matrix. Big fan.
Morpheus all day.
So you remember that section when they plug it in and they teach you how to do martial arts and they teach him also, now you know how to do martial arts.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I know Kung Fu.
I know Kung Fu. That's how I see books. It depends on what part of your journey you are. So if you need help when it comes to sales, for example, you're going to read a sales book. When you need help when it comes to marketing, you read a marketing book. So it really depends on what part of your journey you are. But that's how I see books, to supercharge your power based on the journey where you are now. Now, if I have to give my best book, then I would say, first of all, when it comes to spirituality, which is the first thing, which is very important, I would recommend Power of Now. Power of Now, why? Because it really allows you to focus on the now rather than worried about the future or the past. And they really train you mentally to avoid to be stressed, to avoid to have fear, and really recenter yourself. So I think spirituality is very important. We don't really talk about it much when it comes to entrepreneurship, but it's extremely important. So I would recommend that book, Power Now. Another book that I recommend is The One Thing. Is the why is because when I was starting my entrepreneurial journey, I wanted to touch on everything.
Yeah,
I wanted to say, let me do this, let me do that. Let me know. I heard about NFT. Let me go into NFT. I heard about crypto. Let me go into crypto. Or I heard you can make a lot of money when it comes to properties. Let me go into properties. And you go and spend your energy all over the place. The one thing really teaches you how to refocus and is focus on one thing for a very long period of time. And I think that's a book, again, that I would highly recommend for people that have that energy really scattered all over the place. Even when it comes to your business itself, to focus on one aspect of your business rather than going all over the place. So one thing. And the last book I would recommend is Atomic Habits. Why? Because of productivity. When it comes to productivity, I think it's very important for you to be productive and to, like I said before, stay away from distraction and understand what distracts you and what you need to do when something's taking you to the wrong direction and how to recenter yourself to become more productive. So these are the 3 books I recommend that you can apply in different part of your entrepreneurial journey. And that can help you whether you're an advanced entrepreneur or beginner when it comes to entrepreneurship. That can, definitely help you when it comes to productivity, mindset, and spirituality.
So those are your big 3.
Big 3.
Your Kendrick, your Drake.
Don't put Drake in first. Don't. Just you can put Ken,
no.
Drake, no problem.
Kendrick,
whatever you want. But
J. Cole, who's taking over Drake?
If you want.
The big 2.
The big 2. Don't put Drake in it. You said it.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, honestly, I think those books are really important. And I think because, again, the world is changing. Technology has taken over a lot of future employment opportunities. DEI is dead until the next racist murder takes place, and then it's back on the agenda. But what I'm saying is that I think the world has told us that there's always a backlash to progress in any way, shape or form. Yeah. And so we need to be resilient. We need to be ready for it. And that's always to have one foot in the independence camp, one foot in the independence opportunity. So it's really important that you think about how you're going to turn your passion into some kind of profitability, hustle, opportunity, but it's meant to give you stability. And I think those 3 books actually will give you the mindset, the focus, and the productivity to achieve at least the first step.
100%.
Okay. I'm gonna get those books, and I'll definitely give you feedback.
Don't get it from my bookshelf, please. Just get your own book, because I know how you like to steal my book. So just tell me when your birthday is, and I'll give it to you as a present. But I heard sharing is caring. Yeah, but I'll share my socks if you want. I got spare socks. I know you like Black Panther, so I can give you Black Panther socks. But not my books. I'll share everything apart from my books. Listen.
On that note, Malcom, thank you for coming on Tenured. You are Tenured alumni.
Yeah.
For the alumni.
The first one?
You're one of the first one. You're someone I used to get on because honestly, your journey is inspiring. And I think what I've really learned from you is actually you are valuable. You have intrinsic value and you're worthy of the life that you want to live.
Thank you.
You're worthy of living a legacy. So thank you for sharing knowledge. I'm sure I'll get you back to talk about Facebook ads. 10 years of running Facebook ads or something. Yeah, honestly, really appreciate you. And
anytime I'm available, you let me know my number. Just give me a call and I'll be there.
Love it. Love it. And as I always say on every episode, we progress together. So be your brother and sister's keeper. And knowledge is power and power is progress.